in a, in a world right now where attention is the currency of the land. It's not dollars, it's attention. You have the attention, you can do anything. Without it, you're not in the game. Does the best art that's being created get sold? No. The best art that's being created that gets seen gets sold. And attention is every single solitary one of our problems. And just like in Maslow's pyramid, you have to sort it daily. You have to be working on getting more of it daily. It is no different than eating and sleeping. And I look at this little pyramid, and a perfect way for me to explain it. Do you know who some of the most powerful women, not just in the United States, are, but in the entire world are? It's the Kardashians. You want to know why? They have attention. Okay. Any one of those women, any of those surgically enhanced women, could decide to start painting stick figures tomorrow and sell $35 million worth of art in the first year. Why? Because they have attention. Okay. They understood what the currency of the land is. When you have the attention, you can do anything. Attention comes in two forms: rented and owned. Rented are YouTube subscribers and Instagram fans and Facebook followers, any social media followers you have on any of those sites. Why is it rented? It's rented because you don't own it. They can change the rules at any time. Still very important, but it's rented. The other kind of attention, the owned attention, really email addresses, most importantly. Secondarily, snail mail. And for some people that do text message marketing, it's phone numbers. But you have to work on building your attention day in, day out. It is a quotidian job. And ultimately, it's the biggest problem that every single solitary one of you on here have. Some of you think you have a website problem. Some of you think you have a pricing problem. Some of you think you have a problem negotiating with galleries. You can't even have any of those problems until you solve the attention problem. The attention problem is the whole ball game. And when you understand it, you start getting intentional. You start working at it. It is no different than eating and sleeping. What did you do to acquire more attention for your work today? If you're not working on that, then you can't even have any of the other problems. Next block, okay, after we solve the attention situation, we're working on it. It's a constant battle. It never ends. The outside of this block is number 1 and 2 here, and then I'm going to get into the block. Number 1 is the business model, okay? I believe that an artist or a photographer, if they want to build a successful business, has to understand the business model. The business model is selling direct, by which I mean you, the artist, the photographer, selling directly to your end customer. You retain the data on your end customer such that you are able to market to that customer in perpetuity. Many people, the way that the industry worked traditionally forever, it was people that did not retain this information. They sold through galleries, or maybe they did the show in their circuit, but they weren't the best at keeping up with these people and marketing to them in perpetuity. I got this book that I cite all the time, and it's by Weiland. Weiland is the whale guy, okay? And don't worry, I'm going to send you links to this. But he wrote this book. He sells it directly on his website. He's depending on who you talk to, he's the #1 selling artist in the entire United States, probably even the world, to be honest with you, because of his business model and what he's done. And he talks in that book about this concept called a collector list, okay? And for Weiland, a collector list are buyers of his art that buy in upwards of 7+ pieces over the course of a lifetime. And he treats this collector list like VIP. His collectors might as well be staying in the Four Seasons. He reaches out. He gives them special access to things. He likes their social media posts, and he continues to build that list, okay? And fundamentally, it is one of the single solitary most important things any art or photography business can have. Collectors surface, you market to them in perpetuity, your prices continue to go up, they go along for the ride. Some of these people will buy in upwards of 20 and 30 and 40 pieces throughout the course of your life. And if you are not building that list, it's sort of like you're working a job and you're not putting any money away in a retirement account. It's almost like a 401k that just pays every single solitary year. And I can go into some detailed examples, but the goal is you come out with a new series. You have a show, right? Whether it's a photographic series or it's the series that you painted. You'll start out, and your collector list will maybe buy 2% of the show or 5% of the show. And your goal is just to build that list such that the percentage of the work that they buy goes up and up and up. And I've seen customers that I've worked with recently where 40 to 50% of the show is bought before anyone even sees it by their collectors, just gone. So you created 20 pieces, 10 are gone instantaneously because you have been cultivating a collector list, because you understand the business model, okay? And it is I mean, we're going to get into it, but it is so fundamental. And I've been doing this for a long time now. Okay. I've talked to a lot of people, and it breaks my damn heart because on a regular basis, people are coming on these calls. Okay. And they're in their late 40s, late 50s, late 60s, late 70s. They are at the top of their game. They have honed their craft to the greatest it's ever going to be. And guess what? They didn't understand the business model. And guess what? They didn't keep a collector list. And so guess what? The pandemic hit and all their offline revenue sources, poof, are gone. And they're coming on this call and they're going, Patrick, and this is how I envisioned it. They had the corner office, floor to ceiling windows, the giant executive desk, the big leather chair. And I'm telling them, I'm sorry, you're out of there and you have to go back to the mailroom and you're pushing the cart because you did not cultivate this list. Okay. You did not keep a collector list. You did not work on your marketing. You did not understand the business model. What do you have now? You have nothing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Wait the pandemic out? Like half the galleries are closed. The ones that are still open are renegotiating the split from 50-50 to 60-40 because they have 100 different artists that they want to pick from. Go back on the show and their circuit. That's wonderful. That does not pay if it's not at 100% attendance. How long is it going to take for the show and their circuit to get back to 100% attendance? We don't know, but it's not going to be instantaneous, right? So really, really passionate about the business model, really, really passionate about the collector list. I think the minute you understand that, boy, are you in a great place. Boy, are you in a great place. You're building it. It takes time. Okay. That's the outer shell. The inside of the block, 3 ways to sell art. There are 3 ways to sell art. Okay. Every single solitary artist, my argument, and photographer needs to understand the 3 ways to sell art and needs to be applying them in their business. Number 1, best way to sell art. Trick question of sorts. Everyone knows the best way to sell art. It's in person, face to face. It always has been. It always will be. Okay. In person, face to face is the best way to sell art. Anytime you have the ability to sell art that way, you do that. Problem: we are all of us geographically fixed on this planet. We all have to sleep. We can't have 15 conversations at once. So the third way to sell art, and I say third because it's the least important, is via your website. You absolutely have to have a website. The website solves for these problems when you're asleep, 15 people at a time, and for many of the geographic problems. The second way to sell art, okay, the newest way to sell art, the one the entire art selling world is trying to figure out right now, the greatest advancement in selling art since forever is exactly what we're doing right now. It is selling art via live video in either a one-to-one fashion or a one-to-many fashion. A one-to-one fashion, I go to Antonio's website. Antonio, these pieces are very interesting. What is that one behind you? I would like to buy it. Can we talk about it? Antonio goes, Patrick, no problem. Let me set up a Zoom call with you. I'll show you a couple of pieces and we can talk about it. I can get to know you. That is the one-to-one fashion. The one-to-many fashion, okay, which is mega interesting as well, is this concept of a live art show, okay? And what am I doing? There we go. So I have a couple examples of this I'm going to show. This is a painter in his garage studio. He has some works that he's trying to sell. He is streaming this to Instagram. He is streaming this to Facebook. He's streaming it to YouTube. He is holding the works up. He's talking about them. People can leave comments. They can purchase them. This is one particular type of these sales. This is a customer and a good friend of ours named Matthew Locke. We've run a number of these different initiatives with him. In addition, okay, to this concept of doing it in your studio, what happens if you have an actual show? He had an actual show in the middle of the pandemic. Now, attendance was limited. A bunch of people couldn't travel, so the attendance to the show was light. He still sold a bunch of stuff. The day after the show, what do? We turn the cameras on. He grabs a glass of wine, wears this ridiculous sleeveless shirt. I always make fun of him for the sleeveless shirts. I can't help it. I think it's funny. And what is he doing? He's walking through the show, and you notice people are leaving comments. We're highlighting the comments. He's walking through the show. He's explaining each of the pieces, okay? So my point in showing this is the new, and I've got another one here too. I can rattle through so many examples. This is crazy, but this is absolutely the future of selling art. It is the next best way. And when we contemplate, let me mute this, but I'll just give you something to stare at while I rant here. You know, if selling art in person, face to face is the best way to sell art, then okay, everything that we do digitally tries to get as close as possible to that, okay? And what would be the ideal way to sell art? Let's just say it's an art gallery that you have that you own in your hometown, okay? People can come in, they can get to know you, have a conversation, they can buy the art. For all the people that can't geographically do that, the next best way is this via live video. Again, one-to-one or one-to-many, a group show, right? And it's so close to the real thing. It's amazing. You don't have to leave your hometown. They get to know you. They get to interact with you. They feel like they have a bond with the artist. It is the future, full stop. And what's interesting is the entire world is trying to figure this out right now. Okay? The entire art selling world is trying to figure it out. Your industry doesn't have a lot of reports. There's two big ones, okay? There is the Art Market 2021 report. They do one of these each year. It's from Art Basel and UBS. I'm going to send you links to the report. I want you to read it. It's amazing. It's incredible. The disclaimer on it is these guys report on the top 1% of the art selling market, right? Like the highest of the high end. The top auction houses in Christie's, the top auction houses and the top art selling dealers and the top galleries and stuff. But the report is still very, very relevant, okay? And the link we'll send you. You can download the entire report, which I recommend you do. I think you'll find it really insightful. But they have these key findings too, which is like this snazzy little web page they built to talk about it. And so I can go in here, I can explore this thing. They've got some lovely little graphs. But you read this report, and what they call it, and I'll quote, Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution in sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 and the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. Do you know what online viewing rooms are? A snooty way to talk about a Zoom call, okay? A snooty way to talk about exactly what we are doing right here, right now. So this is the future of how to sell art in an incredible, incredible fashion. I always feel like a bit of a Yahoo to share numbers, but I'm going to share numbers because it's going to give this whole entire thing some teeth, okay? So Matthew Locke, longtime customer, great friend, normally does the full dog and pony gallery shows. In the middle, so this was on June 9th, 2020, he did 2 of these over a 15-day period. He sold 62 pieces for a little bit over $30,000 Canadian. From his basement, no 50-50 split, direct, didn't have to leave. This is his garage studio. It's where he paints. Didn't even leave his living room. This gal, Meg, also a customer, she was moving studios, legitimately moving studios from one studio to another. This was about a month ago that we ran this. And, you know, just to underscore my collector list, okay? This particular sale was teased on a Friday. On Monday, she emailed her collector list. Her collector list bought 46% of the show. She sold a little bit less than, I think, 76 different pieces for $15,000. Now, the pieces in this particular show were like the color studies, right? They weren't like the full buttoned up pieces. I'm trying to get to one where she's actually holding one. You know, there were color studies, there were sketches, there were smaller works, right? You know, stuff that was just involved in it. But the point is, this is absolutely the future. It is such an incredible way to sell art and photography. The entire world is trying to figure it out. You know, you get people using various different, you know, at the snooty end, it's OVRs, online viewing rooms, or the art fairs and shows that are trying to keep the booth deposits. What's their line that they love? We're going to have a virtual art show, right? Everyone is trying to figure this out right now. I do not know what floor this particular elevator is going to go to. My guess is it's going to go very, very, very high. What I'm saying is right now, this elevator is on the ground floor and the doors haven't even closed yet. The whole world's trying to figure this out. And there is so much tradecraft to it, I can't even begin to tell you. You know, this particular Zoom call, I have all you guys in a Zoom call right now, right? This is also being streamed to 2 YouTube channels, to a Facebook channel, to Twitter, all at once, all simultaneously. Everyone is trying to figure this out, and it is the most effective way to sell art, period. And so step 1 is becoming aware of it. Step 2 is starting to practice it and put it into practice. And I guarantee there's probably not a single solitary person on this call that is doing it. And, you know, people ask, what is it that you do at Art Storefronts? We teach our customers how to sell art and photography in the most advanced ways possible. And because I don't care, 90%, I tell people these things, 90% of the people will never, ever even do it. So I don't even care to give away the tradecraft. I'll give away the tradecraft right now. So my sleeveless associate here, Matthew, is using wireless Apple AirPods connected to his iPhone, which has this stream going out live on Instagram. We are leveraging software that is streaming it, that's putting in this little title here, right? And his logo, and you know, the banner at the bottom to inquire, and it's pulling the comments in. So Cell phone, earpods, connected to Instagram on the phone, laptop, computer, Facebook, personal Facebook, YouTube account. All of that goes down all at once simultaneously. And you can see there's numbers here. If the number 2 thing goes away, he's even got little numbers here. Why? Because the people on Instagram can't see the graphics that we have on the screen. And so they need to know, okay, was that number 2 or number 3? You can't really see it, but it's like right behind here. There's like a little thing. Yeah, there it is. See, number 5. And we're on number 5. So everyone knows. There's a million little things like that. What is the best combination of the technology? How do you announce it? What do you do during the course? And don't worry, I'm going to send you guys, excuse me, I'm going to send you these shows after the fact so you can watch them and pick up what you like. But this is absolutely the future, you guys, and it is completely changing the game, and you don't need to leave your house, and there are no booth fees, and there's no loading up the car and driving somewhere and staying in some crappy hotel and eating crappy food and then hoping you're going to see an ROI. There is no limit to the amount that you can run. It is the most beneficial use, highest ROI use of an artist or a photographer's time I could even imagine right now. It's not even close. And again, whole world's trying to figure it out. So those are the 3 ways to sell art. I got to get back to my pyramid. You have to be running all 3, and you have to be doing all 3 consistently all year long. So we start by constantly gathering attention. We start by recognizing the business model, collector list, as well as the 3 ways to sell art. Then we get to the top of the pyramid, which is everything else. What do I mean everything else? You have a brick and mortar gallery that's working out for you, that's bringing in revenue to your business. Fantastic. We love revenue. I have never met a revenue source I don't like. Keep it going. But it's in addition, okay, not in lieu of working on attention, not in lieu of working on the 3 ways to sell art and building your own collector list. What if it's an online gallery? Maybe it's Saatchi or Fine Art America or Redbubble or Etsy or any of the others. Is it bringing in revenue? Fantastic. I've never met a revenue source I don't like, but it's in addition to everything else, okay? It's in addition to getting your own attention. It's in addition to the 3 ways of selling art. So too, if you're doing the show and Thayer circuit, we love the show and Thayer circuit. It's fantastic. I can't wait for it to come back. It is a great way to build attention, but it's in addition to those 2. You understand this pyramid, okay? You start working on this pyramid, and you are going to be on the path towards building a successful art or photography business. You don't, and you don't control the rules. You do not control the stakes. You can have the rug ripped out from underneath you at any point in time, which I've seen again and again and again on these calls. And you know, one of the things that no one talks about, okay, and does not get mentioned enough. 3 of these a week for a year and a half, okay? It's not hyperbole. That many of them. Every single solitary week, there are people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and I would say once every 2 weeks, somebody in their 90s comes in on these calls asking questions. And so why do I bring that up? Understand the perspective of how long you guys are going to be artists and photographers selling your art or photography, okay? You guys don't go through midlife crises. Doesn't happen to creatives. You don't decide all of a sudden you're going to stop being a painter and you're going to go rent jet skis in Florida for the summer and that's going to be your job, okay? So when you have the perspective figured out that you are going to be working at this for the rest of your life into your 90s in many cases, it underscores how important it is to understand this pyramid, to start working on this pyramid. And guess what? It's not going to be easy at first if you're just getting started. It's going to be a pain in the butt. You know, I'm looking at Rick there, and Rick, if you have not been building that list the entire time, when I'm telling you, you have to learn how to email market and social media market, and you need to start doing it on a regular basis, that could be frustrating, but it's not frustrating when you got another 25 years of growth in this doggone business. So what does Art Storefronts do at the end of the day? We teach you how to do the pyramid. Yeah, we give you a website. And yeah, we put you into a university where there's no graduates because the learning never stops. That's really, in a nutshell, who we are, what we do. All right, well, thank you for indulging me on the pre-recorded video. It always lets me save some energy, so I'll have more horsepower for the Q&A section, and you can't see me. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Monday. It's Monday. Okay, I'm figuring it out. I'm a little slow in the uptake today. One, I know a bunch of people popped in sort of at random times as the presentation was running along. You missed it. Don't worry. I'm going to send you a replay after this is over so you can rewind, go back and forward, watch whatever you want. But we'll open it up to Q&A. And how do you go about doing that? If you're one of the brave ones, okay, with the cameras on, and you have a question, you can use the old school, like, legit hand raise, right? And we'll see that and we'll pull it on. For everyone else, at the bottom of the Zoom window that you see here, there's this like little smiley face that says reactions. If you click that, that gives you a way to raise your hand digitally speaking, and then it kind of gives me like a cue and it lets me know, hey, you've got a question. If you're one of the ones that's watching, can you really not see me one? Oh, you're right. Why didn't someone tell me?
Yep.
Now you can see me. All right, good. If you're one of the ones that's watching on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, like Gina here, how many pieces to show on the first art show? 8x10 price, technical difficulties with my phone. I see those too, so I can answer those directly as well. And then we'll just roll along and see where it goes. And Samara, you're the brave one today. Let's go. You're gonna break the ice. I like it. You're up first.
All right, brave one. Okay. One of the things I think I found would be how to kind of maintain like the business aspect and then still create at the same time. Like I feel like I do like a couple days out of the week, trying to maintain all the, the social media stuff, and then work with the family, and then everything else. And just like it's overwhelming. So I was wondering, like, what are some suggestions on that?
Yeah, step one is coming to terms with the fact that it's going to be overwhelming for the foreseeable future. That is just the nature of this business. It is overwhelming, right? Okay. Now, what do we know deep down, the deepest, darkest? All of you guys just want to create all day, and you don't want to do any of the rest of that. Sadly, that's called a hobby. And there's a lot of people that have hobbies, right? But you guys are here because you don't want that, and it's so funny because we have this private Facebook group for all of our customers, and I have one person on my team that like manages it, right? And every morning we have like a marketing huddle, and I'm like, okay, what's going on in the group? Anything that I need to be aware of? And it was just this post. And it was a gal. She was in a frustrated zone, and she was complaining. She's like, all I want to do is just paint and create. I don't want to do this marketing. I thought all this marketing was going to be done for me. I don't want to run the business. And the mental framework that you have to kind of occupy is like, whatever you want to do least is what's going to grow the business most. And it's so painful that that's true, but it is absolutely true. So you have to do that stuff because you don't want to have a hobby. You want this business to start making some money. And so you kind of have to just balance it. It becomes easier. Like one of the things that we do is we teach you how to market all year long, and we tell you when to market, right? Like, Valentine's Day is coming up. It's a huge art selling holiday. And so we're going to warm you up to start sending a couple of emails to tease your Valentine's Day sale and then announce your Valentine's Day sale. And so when you have the calendar to go off of, you just do that, right? But make no mistake about it, Samara, it's going to suck. You're going not to like it. You don't want to do it. And I find that the sooner that you come to terms with that and then you start doing it, the better, right? Because you want this thing to be a business. I want this thing to be a business for you, but you have to do the work in order for that to happen. There's no shortcuts. There's just no shortcuts. And, it's the single solitary biggest problem in this entire industry. It's why we charge what we charge, because if we can't provide, one, the marketing support, and then two, the emotional support, which is just as important as the marketing support to buck you up, when you're down in the depths and you're like, oh God, I want to quit. This is just a hobby. I should have listened to my mother. Like, you need to be lifted up in those situations, right? And we do that too, because that's a part of it. So yes, you have to do the marketing is the takeaway. No, you don't have to like it. There's no one that said you have to like it. It's kind of like eating your vegetables, but trust me, you have to do it. You have to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, next up is Judy. Go ahead, Judy.
Hi there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a photographer.
Okay.
So unlike an artist or an illustrator, I don't always have prints available per se.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on my computer and not yet printed. I love the idea of the online viewing room, but do I need to make prints of all my work?
Yes, you do.
Actually,
yes, you do. You want to know why?
Okay. Why?
Because you don't sell JPEGs.
Right.
If I come to you right now, Judy, and I say, I want your photography, and you say, here, look at a bunch of JPEGs. This is one of the things that infuriates me more than anything else. Hold on, I got to grab a prop here. So hold on.
So
what you sell is this. It hangs on a wall. It's real. It has three dimensions. It's something that I can lust after. And yet, what does everybody do, that are in your situation? And I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying it infuriates me. Is You post 2D image after 2D image after 2D image after 2D image because that's what you're shooting and that's what you have. And if I went to your Instagram right now, there would be a bunch of beautiful photos, I'm sure, and very few of you actually holding the thing that people actually buy, right? And this is such an important mental construct to sink into your head. And, you know, the way that I love to talk about it is I love taking it outside of art. If I hired you right now today, Judy, to sell knives door to door for me, what would you knock on the doors with? What would you have in your hands when you knocked on the door?
The knives.
The knives. You wouldn't have photos of the knives. You wouldn't have a pretty catalog to say, here's what the knives look like.
Sometimes people do that. I know what you mean.
But they don't ever sell anything, right?
Okay,
like, don't make people think. Order inventory.
Okay. So to make that idea less daunting, would it be very proactive to like make a couple specific sizes, or just starting out, let's just say one size, or
okay. So okay, hold on. Now I got to grab more props because this will tie this thing together. Here's the beautiful thing, okay? I like talking about canvas and I like showing canvas. I like talking about fine art paper and I have a green screen, so it makes this thing look a little wonky. I'm sorry. And I like showing the fact that fine art paper sits in a frame. I like talking about wood. Wood is one of the coolest new mediums, you know, also ready to hang. I love talking about metal. Beautiful. One of the new kids on the block. I love talking about acrylic. Now, what you notice here is all of these are really, really small. All of these are really, really small because they're very easy to hold and they're very easy to show on video. Well, not only that, all of you guys have a fancy zoom camera. Watch this. See how you can show the detail? Look at that fancy zoom camera, right? And so this whole entire stack, acrylic, metal, wood, paper, canvas, costs like $150, right? So you can grab what you perceive to be some of your best sellers and you can say, I offer them on such and such, right? And then show them off. April, will you make a note to, I'm going to include a video that I have on merchandising because this is just something that artists screw up so badly and it'll help you tremendously. But the long and the short is I need you to order samples immediately. Do not make your buyers think. Do not make your buyers think, right? You need to make it very, very easy and they need to have something that they can lust after. And no one lusts after a JPEG. You just don't. Right. You have to have the inventory.
So in a sense, those are samples of the surfaces, not necessarily the finished piece with
no, they're both. They're both. You just say, hey, you know, you can get this in all the way up to, you know, 24 by 36, but here's a small size that I use to show on video, right?
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
And by the way, I learned this lesson the hard way because I have a bunch of big ones over here. Do you know how stupid I look trying to show it on here it is, you know, trying to show it on the webcam, it doesn't work.
So are there specific printers that people go to, or is it just all independent based on?
So we integrate with a printer on the East Coast, a printer on the West Coast. We have a different one in Canada for our Canadian customers. But you can use your local one to get the samples, or you can, just use your local one to get the samples, or use the big one. But you know, get the samples in your hand, and then once you have them, you start merchandising them and you show them. It's fantastic. And to be honest, it's one of the dirty little secrets of why the live art shows that I showed in the video work so well, because it forces you to actually get inventory and merchandise your art for your first time. None of you guys are doing that, right? It has a forcing feature to it, which is really impressive.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, next up is Christy, and then it's going to go Carolyn. Go ahead, Christy. Gotcha.
Hi. Okay. I have a friend who lives in the Bay Area and he's been collecting art for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And when he saw my stuff, because I do a lot of different things, I do mosaics, I do painting. And he said to me, "You're not charging enough.
Yeah.
If you don't charge enough money, people don't take you seriously." I have a terrible time figuring what is my art worth. I mean, I've done paintings that I sold for $150 and I've sold paintings that I sold for $10.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how to drive my customers out of buying something because I'm overcharging, but I don't want to undercharge either because people don't seem to recognize, how much time goes into it, how much materials.
Yeah,
There's some things I do that take weeks.
No, totally. I know where you're at. I would say that like undercharging and struggling with price is in the top 5 biggest things artists and photographers struggle with. Everyone does. It's like a huge thing. The couple of things about price. One, almost everyone charges too little. That's just a truth. So raise your prices is the long and the short. Take a deep breath and raise your prices. If you can't do it, have a glass of wine, call a friend over, and tell them to raise your prices. There are literally there have been instances with customers at art storefronts where I let them know, and I'm like, look, I know this is really terrifying for you. This is really, really difficult for you. So I'm going to do it for you. And I will log into their website and I will raise all of their prices 20%. And it's totally fine, right? So that's number one. But number two, we fall into this fallacy thinking that price is a fixed number and you have to stick to it. You can raise your prices or lower your prices at any time for any reason. Doesn't matter, right? And it's always just a little game of too firm, too soft, just right, right? And so as you go through the business, if the work is moving, you raise your prices and you just do it on a yearly basis. If things really, really cool off, well, then maybe you pushed it too far, right? But there's no one size fits all pricing model.
Right.
Generically speaking, in terms of prints, and this is obviously not original art, we recommend a 250% markup relative to what you pay for the print. And so that works for the majority of our customers, at a macro. But some people, they hit a ceiling on what they can charge. And that's just what it is for the kind of work that they
I have noticed that if people are really interested, they'll pay.
Yes, 100%
they'll pay whatever it is.
100% they'll pay.
Some of my paintings I've done really well on, and I do other kind of art too. And it's when people they could take it or leave it. That's when they try to ask for, less money. I do.
Negotiation is a perfectly wonderful and normal part of the art sales process.
Right.
And the dirty little secret is the higher the price per piece, the more negotiation that happens. And so when I say we do a 250% markup on prints, if somebody says like, hey, I really like that print, but I'm not giving you $1,500 for it, would you take $1,200? Well, if you've marked up 250%, then tell you what, I'll give it to you for $1,300, but you have to take it today. Will you take it today? And then you shut up and the deal gets over the line. So it's helpful to charge additional and then have that ability to be able to negotiate and come down,
So how do you know what your baseline is? I mean, like I make, switch plate covers, people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
I don't know what that's worth. I know what I probably pay for materials, but it doesn't count for time. I don't know what to charge
I think
my baseline is.
I think early on, just to try to do some back of the math, you know what the switchblade cover costs you? I mean, the switchblade cover costs you $5. Let's just say it's probably even less than that, $5. And let's say you put 10 hours in. Okay, well, value your time at $20 an hour. There's $200 plus the $5. Charge $250 for a switchblade cover.
See, I'm like, I don't feel like I can do that, but I can.
Yeah, 100%. But you can try that and see what happens. My guess is $100 price point is probably a little bit better for a switchblade cover. That's probably palatable. $99 sounds familiar, but you know what? That means you have to audit yourself and not spend 55 hours on a single switchblade cover, right? Let's get those babies done in like 45 minutes if you can.
Yeah. Well, and I do call it functional art.
Yeah. I
Everybody has a switchblade cover.
They do indeed. Or everyone has switches.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Caroline, then it's going to go Audrey, and then I see all the questions in the chat. Don't worry, I will get to all of them. Go ahead, Caroline, you're up next.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
You are indeed.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
My question is about shipping and delivery.
Yes.
Because as you've noted, of course, now we are doing this online.
Yes.
People aren't right in your hometown necessarily.
Yes.
I live in Ecuador, so most of my people are going to be in the United States.
Yes.
I'm imagining.
Are you selling primarily originals or prints or combination?
I'm selling watercolors.
Mm-hmm.
I paint on 140-pound and 300-pound watercolor paper.
Mm-hmm.
The 300-pound can't be rolled because it's really thick.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be shipped flat, maybe in some kind of a wooden frame that's built just for that, I'm thinking. And we have an international shipper here not, not, oh, I forget what the normal one is.
DHL.
Yeah. But, yeah, well, we have DHL, but yeah, we have DHL. The other one, I can't remember the other one, but it's really bad here. But DHL,
we're
have.
just out of curiosity, and I know how to answer the question already, and I'll do it in a sec. Where in Ecuador do you live?
Up in the mountains in Cuenca.
Beautiful, beautiful. I really want to go to Roatan. We're contemplating a trip there soon.
Roatan?
Yeah.
That's not in Ecuador.
Yeah, that's Honduras, huh?
That's a great diving resort in Honduras.
Honduras,
if you have to choose,
I just got the two
first
confused.
go to Roatan.
First, go to Roatan. Okay, so let me answer the question. So, do you know what the problem with shipping art is, or you know what the problem with art period is? Selling it.
No, I've never
Selling
shipped anything before.
The hardest thing to do is sell it. The easiest thing to do is everything else. So I wouldn't worry about it in the slightest. I could, let's just say in terms of a scenario, if you signed up with us, all of the orders that came in for prints would just be handled domestically. You wouldn't have to touch anything. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
For the internationals, you would just let people know, by the way, I'm in Ecuador. I need to ship from Ecuador, so there's a little bit of an additional price, and then they can decide then do they want the original or do they want the print. But you don't need to stress. Right. You don't need to stress about that right now. I wouldn't even stress about it until I got my first order. I would get the first order, and let's just say I purchased it, and you would say, Patrick, I've not shipped from this new place that I'm in Ecuador, so I was wondering. I don't know what to charge you, so I'm going to go down and figure out what the shipping cost is, and then I'll let you know. Done. And the beautiful thing about art is it has not been Amazonified just yet, meaning not everyone expects free shipping, which is a beautiful thing, right? So they're going to expect to pay shipping, so you just go down.
And then is there insurance with that?
You could do insurance if you want to, depending on the carrier, yeah. And
because
it's
I'm
probably a good idea.
assuming they will have already paid me in advance.
Yes, 100%. But what I'm here to tell you, because I know where you are mentally on this, I don't want you worrying about the shipping in the slightest. I want you only focused on creating it and then selling it. Do not focus on the shipping, because what everyone does is they get mega stressed out on the shipping and how am I going to do the shipping and what am I going to do about the shipping and the boxes and everything else. You got to sell it first. Sell it first. Worry about the shipping second. That's what I'd say.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Audrey, you're up next, then Michelle, and then I'll get into the chat. Go ahead, Audrey. You'll have to unmute Audrey. I'll let you know when you get it. Yep, gotcha.
Pat, I've been a photographer for 45 years, and I've used GoDaddy forever.
Mm-hmm.
As far as just a website. It does absolutely no good because
Yeah,
I don't have an e-commerce site.
Yes.
So what do you guys do?
So yeah, we're quite a bit more than just a website. I mean, the reason your GoDaddy doesn't do anything is because you don't have a website problem. You think you do, but you don't. You have a marketing problem. And until you fix the marketing problem, no one's going to come to the website. If you fix the marketing problem, then you would have a website problem. So we solved both of those problems, right? One, we have like a crazy robust website solution, which is awesome. But two, we teach you how to market and get eyeballs to it, i.e. make sales. And we don't ever stop teaching you that. We do that all year long.
Okay. And I mean, we haven't even talked about costs, so I'm curious about that. I see the emails about the 5 people that get in line for the $500 discount.
No, we are relentless. Are we not on the emails? It's embarrassing. It's like I have to like go to rehab for emails. I mean, not to put light on substance abuse problems, but I realize we send too much email. What I would do is I would request a demo. You don't even have to do it. We can just have somebody call you.
Yeah, I've done that several times, but
have they not followed up with you?
They called and I was at a lunch and they said they'd call back, but he didn't. So
okay, we'll look into that for you. They'll walk you through all the pricing and the plans. But in addition to that, the pricing and the plans, it's essentially like a 1-hour Zoom call or like an hour and change where they'll walk you through all the bells and whistles, show you every part of the ins and outs of the program and everything else. And even if you're ready to sign up or not sign up, at least gives you the whole thing from soup to nuts, so to speak. But I can get into the pricing side of things too. We realized early on as a company that the only way we were going to make it is if we had successful customers. And sadly, website's not enough to do that, right? So what we charge, we're like any other website company in the sense that we charge a monthly fee, but that's only half of what we do. The other half is essentially a graduate university in art and business marketing. And there's no graduates because the learning never stops, the classes never stop. And so you pay to get into the university and You get all of the teaching, all of the support, all of the bells and whistles they'll show you on the Zoom call, and then also the website. So there's a monthly fee and then a fee to get into the university, essentially. In the university, it starts at $9.99, and the monthly fee on the website, I think, is $39 or $49. But there's a couple of different plans, and they group things and all that, so they can show you.
Okay.
The long and the short is, Audrey, if you're willing to do the work on learning how to market and doing it consistently, we're the right solution for you. If not, then what you have works, right?
Well, it does. I mean, I've got stuff coming out of my kazoo, but I'd like to get it sold. So.
Yeah. I hear
There
you.
you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. To have somebody get a hold of me, that'd be awesome. Sorry.
Will do.
Sorry. Okay.
All
Yeah.
good.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Audrey.
it.
Love that name, by the way. It's my sister's name. Okay, Michelle, you're up next.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Hi. Thank you for doing this. My question is, I don't have anything yet. I don't have a website. I don't have mailing lists. I just have friends and family members saying you should sell your art. There's some of my art right there. I do collage work. I do have a bunch of things printed already on canvas, which I was going to put up in our Airbnb as an option for selling.
Love that. Love that.
But so my question is, as a real novice to the marketing realm, is it appropriate for me to start with you, or should I start building a mailing list first, or what's the deal?
Before we even get into that, there's a step before all of it that we need to solve. Have you, Michelle, sold art to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friend?
I have not.
So we got to fix that first. And this is one of those steps that everyone tends to jump and then tends to go right into marketing, and it terrifies me, okay? And the analogy that I love to give is, let's get out of art for a second. You and I are chefs. We've always both wanted to have a restaurant, right?
Okay.
And we're like, you know what? Let's do it. This is our year. And we both go about starting a restaurant. I write a business plan, and I spend months on it. And then I go down to the bank and I get a loan. And then I shop around town for buildings, and then I sign a year lease on a building, and then I lease a bunch of equipment, and then I set up the thing, hire who's the person that talks to you at the front? Whatever.
The maitre d' or something.
The
hostess.
The hostess. Yeah. Hire a hostess. Everything. I set it all up. Open my doors. Everybody comes in, and turns out no one comes back because they didn't like the way that I set up the menu and everything else. You, on the other hand, are smarter than me. You're like, okay, let's figure this out. And you went down to Costco and you got a rolling cart. You made your tacos, Michelle's tacos, and you rolled it into an office building the next weekend. I'm not even on page 6 of my business plan yet. You rolled this thing right into an office building. You put up a sign. Next thing you know, there was a bunch of people in line. And the next thing you know, they're like, Michelle, these were good. Not great, but they were good, but I probably wouldn't come back. You go home. You're like, okay, tacos are a bust. Scratch those off the list. And then you did your burgers. Went into a different office building the next weekend. I'm now on page 14 of my business plan. And you went in, and the line is around the corner for your burgers. And they're like, Michelle, can you come back? And you know what? You're like, all right, game on. Now I have a restaurant, right? And so I spent a year and all this time and energy and effort and money marketing, and I didn't know if I had a product the market wanted or not. You have to figure that out. Now, the shortcut way to do it, it always starts with family and friends, by the way. Those sales are totally okay early on. But the shortcut, the easiest way to do it is get your inventory together. You might have to order some prints and commit to doing a local show or fair, farmer's market, anything. Sit in that booth on your feet for 8 hours, have some conversations with strangers and see if things sell. If things sell, that's the market telling you they have a product. You have a product that the market wants, right? Or you could grab the cell phone, go live on Facebook and Instagram and be like, okay, guys, it's me, Michelle. Everyone's been telling me for a long time now, I really need to start an art career. My art is great. Well, now it's go time. I'm starting this business, okay? Here are the pieces that I have for sale. I would normally sell these for such and such. Here's what I'm willing to let them go for. And do that and send it to everyone you know. And if you get a bunch of purchases from strangers, then they're not just empty compliments, are they? They're not just, you should go and do this. And then you have a product the market wants, right? And then you can have a marketing problem, but you can't have the marketing problem until you fix that. Because
marketed,
look,
that's
yes, the just think of the restaurant analogy, right? Like I need you to push that cart into an office building, and I want you to do it immediately.
That's very helpful.
That
makes a lot of sense.
This month.
And I like that because it will make me feel more confident if people actually are willing to shell out
strangers.
cash. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And going forward, The next time somebody says, your art is so great, you've got to start selling this, just go, this one is for sale. It's $350, and put your hand out. I take PayPal, Venmo, Square, right? Like, ask for the sale, and it puts them on the spot, and they might just buy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I like the earrings, super jazzy. Okay, Nick M, you're up next. Go ahead, Nick.
Hi there. I do woodworking.
Okay.
I've been doing farmers markets and holiday shows and stuff like that last year.
Awesome.
I have a website. It's a Wix website.
Mhm.
I've had a few sales on there. I'm on Etsy. I've had fairly good success with that in the last, little bit. But
qualify that. 20 sales, 30 sales, 50 sales, 5 sales, what? On Etsy.
I think I'm up to 10 sales in just under a month.
What's your average price per piece?
I think my average sale is $75.
Okay.
And most of those are like coasters. I sell like sets of coasters of 4 for like $50.
Okay.
But I'm looking for more, looking to do stuff on my own website more. I've got 10 sales on my own website. I'm looking for more. I'm wondering if this art storefronts is good. If y'all have like woodworkers or something like that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the thing is pretty much geared towards wall art, right? From a technology standpoint, but those are like our fancy bells and whistles. But it's also just an e-commerce shop, right? Like any of the rest of them, right? You put products in there, and you can put any kind of product you want. I mean, we have people selling such a range and mixed bag of things, especially when you consider, we're also integrated with a merch partner. So we got people selling yoga mats and pillows and tote bags and coasters and puzzles and greeting cards and everything else. So you can sell all of that woodworking stuff, zero problems at all. You have a marketing problem the same as everyone else. It sounds like you're in a good spot in the sense that it's selling already, but damn well you can't rely on Etsy. It's too slow, and the business has a marketing problem. You need to grow it, right? So we can totally help you in that regard, and you have to learn marketing like everyone else.
So the marketing that y'all do with art storefronts is basically across the board for different industries.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely some nuances to the art portion of it, right? But you're not so far out of the realm that it doesn't 100% apply, right? Like if you were selling golf clubs, a little bit different, but you're still right in the wheelhouse. So yeah.
Yeah, and everything I do is a lot of what I do is I burn stuff with like high voltage electricity and mix epoxy with it. So there's like a very artistic side of things.
Very cool.
With what I build.
You're charging too low on the coasters, by the way. It's got to be $99 minimum.
You think so?
100%.
I have lots of people that buy 1 or 2 sets, and then lots of people that also just balk at my price.
Yeah, don't worry about the balk at the price. The balk at the price is never going to buy anything anyway.
Well,
or at the very least, get some have a set in the shop for $1,000, have one for $500, have one for $250, and then have some for $99.
Have different size options or something, or
just the mental model on it's called price anchoring. But when everyone's followers, where's my pen? I don't know where my doggone pen is today. Everyone's followers, yours, mine, Audrey's, every single salt trade person on this call, right? Everyone's followers fall into a socioeconomic bell curve, right? And if you picture a bell curve, you get the lower income folks, okay? You get the low, middle, upper class, and then you get the high net worth individuals, right? Your job is to have prices for all of them, right? You need to have something in your store that's on the lower end. You need to have something in the mid range, and then you need to have something at the high end. All of that is important. Most artists and photographers break those rules completely. It's why we offer merch. It's why we do prints. It's why we encourage limited editions, whether you're a photographer or an artist, and then having expensive originals. You want to have the entire price sorted, but also psychologically, when you go to a Mercedes dealership or a nice car dealership, and there's the big glass box in the middle with like the really expensive cars, and the cars in there, you're like, I can't afford those damn cars. Those cars are way too expensive. And then you have all the rest of the cars on the outside. Those cars inside the glass box exist because psychologically speaking, they make you feel better about the purchase that you're making at $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 because of that $150,000 price in there. And it's price anchoring. It's like a psychological phenomenon. So I want you to have inexpensive stuff in your store for that option too.
Yeah, my stuff ranges from 300 to $20.
Perfect. What I want
And
you,
then
I want to add a zero at least to the 300.
Yeah, I've got a couple pieces that are I've just started doing like wall art, or I'm just starting to do like mirrors the same way, and those are going to be a few $100s, and then some of my wall art pieces I'm doing are pricing like $700 or $800.
Love it. Game on. We can definitely help you.
And then the last question I had was about like SEO. I don't know if SEO is something I need to worry about right now, or...
Ooh, I can help you with that one. SEO is something you don't have to worry about ever. SEO is just such a load of BS. It's not to say that it doesn't work. In certain instances, it does. It's not to say that it didn't. It used to work really, really well 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Now it is extremely difficult to get it to work. And you always have to balance ROI in any marketing initiative, right? And do I believe that you would get a higher ROI on your time, energy, and effort treasure focusing on SEO or focusing on marketing on the socials, Facebook, and Instagram? I would 100% argue that an hour is worth 50 times what it is in those platforms for you than it is SEO. So you can ignore SEO completely. Not only that, if you sign up with us, our system does all of it for you. You don't even have to touch it.
So do y'all have part of your marketing plan? Is that like when to post or what to post or how often?
Everything. When to post, what to post, how to post, templates for the language, when to run a sale, how to tease a sale, how to announce a sale, what to do during, before, after a sale, how to run the live art show, start to finish, all the tech, everything all year long, all of it. All you have to do is follow it, which is not easy. Take some time to figure that out and get ramped up on all of it.
Starting out, what are you looking at for time spent per week on marketing if you wanted to tackle
so
half of it or something?
That's like the typical crystal ball question that everyone asks, right? Like, how many hours a week do I have to throw into this thing? There's no magic answer to that question either. It sort of differs for everybody. What I can say is it's less about the hours that you can give me in a week and more about you giving me 52 weeks in a row, which no one ever does. The consistency is what moves mountains. But ordinarily what we find is that, everybody, and I should say 80% of our customer base has full-time jobs. There's only 20% that are full-time artists or photographers or, full-time artists, right? Like, let's just say that are just surviving off of their art of photography. If it's the photographers, a lot of them have service-based businesses. They're doing ASO pictures or running tours or have portraits, whatever. And then many of the artists have full-time jobs. So why do I say that? Say that because the hours is always a constant battle, right? But what I find is that you make the mental commitment to give me whatever hours you can give me, right? And that's how it starts. And then somewhere around like month 3 or month 4, a win happens. Some sort of a win that like tends to fill the emotional reservoir that we need as entrepreneurs to keep going. And then all of a sudden, instead of the whatever hours you were giving me, the hour commitment is kicked up, right? That's what I ordinarily see happening. But again, it's less about how many hours a week and more about you got to give them to me consistently 52 weeks in a row. And there's a lot of people that won't be able to execute on all of the marketing stuff that we give them to do, and that's totally okay. You do the best of your ability, and you get better and better and better and better. I mean, there's some people that'll go through an entire year just getting the fundamentals and the mechanic of a sale down. And, everyone thinks like a sale is an easy thing, and it is once you get the hang of it and you run it, right? You're going to end up running 6 or 7 of these things a year minimum. So you got to get better at it, right? You got to do all these things. And first, you're just announcing the sale and sending an email. Then you're announcing the sale, sending an email, sending to unopens, and then all of your social posts dovetail with the language in your sale. And then the next thing you know, you've got Facebook and Instagram ads running. And the next thing you know, you're running a live art show right when that's happening. So you work your way up to it, right? And it takes time.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'd say. And I want to see the coasters. Put a link in the chat for me.
I will put a link for my website in the chat.
Awesome. Love it. But you should see a demo and then just tell them like, hey, I'm sure we have other woodworkers. I mean, we have people selling so many wacky things now. It's crazy, but it all just comes down to the marketing stuff, Lone timber. There we go.
And I do furniture as well, but this is just the small stuff that is easily shipped.
Yeah, these are cool. We're all bought into this now, so I might as well. So here's the stuff. They're cool looking. Do you use the same wood for everything?
No, those are cedar. I've got some stuff, some walnut, and I work with lots of different kinds of wood. But
oh, this is what I wanted to see. Wow. This is like Tesla / art /
yeah, I just was doing some of that this morning too.
That's really cool looking. Yeah, very, very, very cool niche. I dig it. But yep, got to get marketing.
That's what I'm struggling with.
Yeah. It's all good. You and everyone else on this call. Don't worry.
Cool. Well, appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick. All right, Christy, go ahead.
Yeah, one just last thing that I've learned personally is don't try to sell your stuff at a yard sale or a flea market. People want to bargain with you. Which, yeah, not bargain like realistically. They're like, I'll give you $2 for that.
Yeah, extreme
Do
lowballing.
you find that your personality sells?
Yeah. Oh, always, 100%. But it doesn't matter what that personality is, right? Like,
well, my husband says, honey, you're the queen of bad jokes. And I said, yeah, but you laugh.
Exactly. So roll with them, right? Like, and thanks for the question, Chrissy. Everyone thinks that like just the art is the brand, right? And, everybody always gets so confused. I don't know what my niche is. Should I do this or should I do that? And then they sit there and they pound their head against the wall thinking about it for a year. Nothing gets done in the business. You, the human being, right? You, Christy, are, and I muted you, Christy, I can't hear you. You guys are as much a part of the brand as is the artwork, right? Like who you are, what makes you tick, what you're interested in, your own peccadillos, everything else. And people tend to forget that and gloss over that. So yes, personality helps. Yes, what you've got one, I've got one. Roll with it and don't stress about it. And yes, the garage sales sometimes can be bad, but reason number 755, start with the $750 price and they're not going to offer you $2 for it. So start high. All right, Terry, you're up next. Go ahead, Terry.
Hi. Great advice, really.
Thank you.
And I have such respect for your knowledge and how you're constantly pivoting and learning. It's pretty impressive.
Well, I appreciate that.
My question I had posted earlier on this was about how to build the email list, how to find like-minded collectors.
Mm-hmm.
And for me specifically, my work, I'll just put a link here. It's something that's called pareidolia. And so it's kind of a niche. It's seeing things around us that we overlook, walk past, and step on, and causing this moment of like wonder when you see something that is right in front of you. So pareidolia is like seeing a face in the moon.
Yeah.
So like that's a street crosswalk. That's the side underneath. That's melting snow that looks like figures. That's, a root on the ground with a shadow. And so on and so forth. That's a piece of wood where it's a tree where it looked like people kissing.
Yep.
I don't know if you see any of that stuff.
I do.
So it's all stuff that is in front of us. So there's a whole mission to it. So in terms of building an email list and writing, finding like-minded collectors.
Yeah, you're overthinking it. Do you know how emails are built? One email at a time. It's just marketing. Worrying about who you're going to find and like-minded collectors and all the rest. Like, that's all nonsense. You start marketing, right? It is a pain in the butt, especially early on. It is a grind, but you start getting feedback. You start capturing those emails, and you're as a result of the marketing, you find the collectors, or the collectors find you. It's just sort of how it works. I know. I wish there was like a secret bullet, right? Or a special list that you could buy of people that are just into this, but that's not how it goes. You start marketing. It sucks at first. You start building momentum, and you go from there. And that's just how it works.
Are there any techniques though for like who to be emailing or how to.
Yeah, I mean, early on, it's just doing all of the above, right? Like, kind of what we teach. One, just at a macro, you need to be capturing emails all year long. You need to be emailing those emails all year long. You need to be doing regular marketing, i.e. not salesy marketing. You need to have sales when the time is right. You need to start running the live art shows, and you need to do that consistently all year long. Week in, week out, all year long. Rinse and repeat. The little typewriter head goes all the way over. That's the end of the year. Bing, right back. Next year. So you're, and I could see where your mind's going because I've been doing this for a long time, right? Like you're contemplating the what ifs and how to do it and everything else. You just need to get started. And don't take that as a sales pitch. I know where you're at. Doesn't matter if you sign up with us or not. You need to get started marketing. You're never going to figure these things out. You're never going to learn until you start one foot in front of the other, baby steps getting going.
Yeah, no, I've started marketing and
Okay.
I've been on TV and magazine published something and in a gallery, actually in a couple and stuff, but I'm not really, and I have a boutique near here where there's some, they have my photos, but I haven't really gotten out, where like there's really sales a lot or anything.
Yeah.
There's some sales,
Yes.
I've had sales, but it's not, and I don't know how to, so I'm doing some marketing, and I understand. So in terms of like building the email list, I hear you just get started, just start.
Yeah. And I mean, and we teach you, it's a a total mixed bag between online stuff and offline stuff and everything in between, right? Like, I imagine the boutiques that you're in would probably let you put a QR code underneath the pieces. They scan the QR code, it automatically gets on the email list, then you start emailing them, right? That's one way to do it. It shows and theirs. When you do shows and theirs, we have an entire playbook, an entire strategy that works that way. Once you get going online, there's all the online tricks, and we have a ton of stuff centering around print giveaways that we have you do. It's a total mixed bag of all these various different things consistently all throughout the year, and then emailing the emails, and then they share the social posts and everything else. The whole thing just kind of rolls. But you have to be.
I saw you had a lot of merchandise too, and
yeah.
In terms of like mine are limited editions that are archival master printed, and so also using your printers. I know you have an East Coast and West Coast printer, and maybe others. How do you work out for limited editions, and how do you, what's your thoughts about actually also doing merchandise related to the limited editions?
Yeah, I love the merchandise for a whole bunch of different reasons, and I'll share a video with you guys that I want you to all watch because the merch is so impressive on what it's capable of achieving. But I think even for you, I would have limited editions, I would have open editions, I would have a mixed bag in between the two. In terms of the limited editions, getting them printed, it's not a problem at all. If you're hand signing them, you charge extra for them. You get the limited edition shipped to you. You take it out of the packaging, you sign it, put it back in the same packaging, you ship to the person, but you charge extra. I would also offer limited editions without signatures because some people just want to pay less and they don't really care for your signature or anyone else's signature. They just want the deal. And there are people that are like that in this world. And so I like catering to them. So I like one price with signature, one price without signature. And that gives you a way to price them a little bit differently. And then I like the open editions too, right? And you could do a digital signature on those or no signature at all. Totally up to you. But it's important to have all those things because then it just gives you it's different strokes for different folks, Like, some people like this, some people like that. And we always have a tendency is the creatives to handicap ourselves, right? Oh, nobody's going to want to do that. Nobody's going to like that. They're going to only want this. And it's like, don't think you're smarter than your crowd. You're not. Trust me, you're not. They know what they want. Just get out of the way and provide it, right? So too with the merch. The merch is just advertising at the end of the day. No one is making hundreds of millions of dollars on merch, right? But as creatives, we tend to think that we're going to do some marketing. And out of this bunch that's marketing, all of them are raising their hands at once saying, I'm ready to buy art right now today. Nothing could be further than the truth. Almost none of them are ready to buy art right today. A small percentage. For everyone else, you get a tote bag in there. The next thing you know, they're carrying the tote bag around for the next 2 years. Next thing you know, they moved out of their mother's basement into their own first apartment and they're ready to buy some art. Look at the tote bag. Now they're thinking of you, right? And that sale never would have happened if you didn't sell the merch. And so I like the merch for that as well as a bunch of other reasons. So that's what I'd say about the merch.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. All right, who did you tell me Juan was it? Wes? I think it was, yeah, there it is. Wells. I got you, Wells. Yep. Go ahead, Wells. Gotcha. Oh, you got to unmute, Wells. I had you. Yep, there, I got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Can you hear me? Okay. I do. Let me turn this. Hold on.
Yeah. You get the little the
I
the
do
loop
aerial
going.
photography with my drone.
Yep.
Mainly, my big focus is I do real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do stock photography. So I'm trying to. I've got a website. I've got it on my website on 20 other sites, from Yelp to Instagram to business Facebook to you name it, it's on there. I've only been started 3 months.
Okay.
I've had about one customer a month, which, I started in October. It's not really the best time of year for this.
One customer a month for
So
the service
I've done
portion.
a lot of marketing. I'm kind of at the point to where, or I feel like I have. And because I post all the time, post, because at first I was only posting like once a week. Didn't work. I got to where I post every single day some picture. One picture in my computer that I've taken, and a comment below it, letting everybody know I'm a Part 107 certified drone pilot, which you have to go through all this just to be able to sell your photography from the air.
Yes.
It's different. If you're from the ground and you're taking pictures like a wedding, you don't have to have that. You just need a portfolio. When you go in the air, FAA gets involved.
Yep.
So I've went through all that. I've made all the right steps. I feel like I come from, my dad's always had his own business. I see how you need to market, how you need to invest in marketing.
Yes.
But I don't know that I'm marketing correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking for a model to follow, to learn from. I've taken course after course on cinematography and some marketing stuff. There's a bunch of people out there that do all kinds of stuff, but I keep kind of getting drawn back to you and seeing your ads and maybe watching some of your videos that are pre-recorded, and it keeps getting sunk in my head. And I'm like, it always brings me back to you, because you guys seem the most genuine. No, your heart's in this. You're not. I know you do it for money. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's got to make a living, but I think you do it because you love it, and you're trying to teach us all how to be successful.
Yes.
And because you've already figured it out. You've made all the mistakes that we're making. You've made all the mistakes that I'm making.
Most of them two or three times too, by the way.
Other than just joining you, along with joining you, or do I need to do a little bit of homework like you want the other lady to do?
No, I
think just jumping in and put your feet in the fire and going for it. I don't know if just my stock photography what would work with your program as far as putting it up on one of your sites, but I think the marketing could go hand in hand with both. Talk to me, Goose.
Yep. I think
lead me in the right direction.
Yep. I think at the top, and give me the thumbs up when you can hear me, because I know you had to turn your speakers off.
I can't hear you at all.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
You let me know when you can hear me. Just give me the thumbs up. All right, I'm gonna interpret that as yeah. Okay, good. So let me start at the top. Okay, one, I like drone photography because it's easy to get the service portion of that business going, and you're going to need the service portion of that business to give you air cover, by which I mean years of air cover, to grow the fine art portion of it. Okay, stock photography, you might as well be playing the lotto. You're not going to make any money at that. Okay, stop. Just stop. Stop uploading to all that nonsense. None of that is going to help you. No one is going to buy that. There's no money in that. Stock photography was great 35 years ago. It's over now. It's done. So that's what I would say about stock photography. What I would do is I would figure out a niche in the drone space. And, if you've got real estate going on right now, fantastic. Hammer the real estate. If you figure out weddings, whatever it is, you want to go as deep in as a niche as you can and get as many clients as possible. Now, I like the real estate one because the realtors are selling the houses. And so if you're doing some drone photography in Newport Beach, that's where I live, and you have some beautiful drone photos of local Newport Beach, I would have 7 to 10 of those babies printed out in my car. When I meet with the realtor to deliver the product, I would say, by the way, I know you're selling that house. Here's 7 to 10 photos of the local neighborhood. If you need to spice up any of the areas and you want to put them in there, put them in there. If they sell, great, we can sell, right? But you need to come up with a niche of sorts, I would imagine that you're going to push on the drone photography. And the reality is that everybody and their brother has a drone now, right? And so there's a ton of different competition there. And I know you've got FAA clearance, but I can show you 500 kids that don't give a damn about FAA clearance. They're going to fly that thing wherever the hell they feel. So I think you need to come up with a niche, and you can absolutely sell it once you do have a niche. And you know, I do like the real estate model. I mean, you'll end up getting so many wacky different gigs just by putting yourself out there, and everybody wants drone photography. So I love that aspect of it. And then, you know, you just have to keep experimenting with what's going to sell as a print and which direction are you going to go. But the stock photography is not it. Do not waste any more time on that. So that's what I would say. And I don't know where you're located geographically speaking, and you know, if there's natural beauty there or not. There's so many different ways you can go with the drone photos. But again, I like work the service niche, let people know that you've got fine art for sale as well, and that'll go far. Okay, do the unmute thing, and then you can ask your follow up. I'll have to unmute you again, I think. Hold on.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, I understand what you're talking about. The reason I'm focusing on real estate first, because that's the easy into the drone business.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I'm working towards, and I do a little bit of it now, is construction progression. Like, say they're putting in a Walmart.
Yep.
You start day one and you fly through there twice a week and send it to corporate.
Yep.
So they can see what's going on with that site as they go, and they don't have to put a body on the ground, walking back and forth, looking at it. I can fly over it in 30 minutes. They see what they need to see and go on.
Yeah.
Now that takes another step. You get the software, and you can do the mock-up of the buildings and make it 3D. As it goes, it becomes 3D. So there's that. Cell phone tower inspections, roofing inspections. Roofing inspections, you can just do a flyover so they can look at it instead of sending guys out there. It's quicker for me to go out and do 10 of those than to send the guy out there dragging a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
But the inspections, like the certified stuff, you got to get a certification for.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many different avenues. Solar farms, flying over solar farms. You can do that, see if one's cracked.
Mm-hmm.
But there's the next step to that. You get a drone that has a thermo camera. You can tell whether those are good or bad. So there is a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
I just wanted to master one at a time and play with the other ones a little bit. I'm not going to turn down any work, but focus and really do damn good at what I'm doing. Get good at the editing. That's the hardest part for me, is the editing.
Yeah.
I'm not a big computer person. So teaching myself and taking course after course on all kinds of shit. So is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes. You know, the niche as far as the real estate, but working my way towards the higher end goal, the big paying jobs, you know, doing the solar farms and the inspections for power companies. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to mute you again so we don't have the two thing. You know, what I would say is, you know, you need to figure out what the fine art portion is going to be. You've got time to do that. In the meantime, get as many gigs as you can and grow the service side of the business. As long as you let everyone know that you've got fine art for sale, right? Like when you're doing the various different gigs, that'll help you. And that's honestly how I'd roll it. That's how I'd roll it. Just know that, yeah, for years and years, the business is going to be 90 to 95% service based, and that's totally okay. As you slow cook, you know, the fine art portion of the business. So that's what I would say. But congrats on getting all the certifications. That's awesome. That's totally amazing too, that Walmart would pay someone to do that, and it totally makes sense. It's like, wait, I got to do a site visit or otherwise. That's totally interesting. I mean, there's going to be so many drones in our future. It's crazy. Thanks, Wes. Okay, I know I missed another question in the chat, and I said I would answer it. So let me get to that and find it. I'm just scrolling up, and if anyone has any finals, all you have to do is just raise your hand or whatever. Sometimes when there's a ton of people in here, it gets really hard. And again, I'm going to send you a replay of absolutely everything. Yeah, Mayan was asking about a Wix website. No, when you move to us, everything moves over to us. You wouldn't be here if the other website was working anyway. So trust me, it's a better solution for you anyway. Yeah. All right. What else? Yeah, nightstand. I think that pretty much covers it. as a final, I would say, again, I'm going to email you everything after the fact. I highly recommend you subscribe to us on YouTube. We put out a ton of really, really good content on YouTube, and whether you ever sign up or not, it's a great way to continue learning, continue keeping yourself in the loop with all the latest and the greatest that we're putting out there. And, fundamentally, this business is about normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale. And one, that's just how it is, period. It's how it always been. Two, the reason I kind of like the cycle is like, you ever like sign up for like a 3K, a 5K, a half marathon or whatever? I certainly haven't, so it doesn't work for me. But if you're wanting to get in shape, the best thing that you can do is go and sign up for a race, because then you're like, oh crap, that thing's coming, right? It's in your mind. You're going to have a few less beers, or you're going to put down the chocolate cake, and you're going to start running and exercising. And that's sort of what sales do in the art world, right? And so I'm telling you, the next big race is Valentine's Day. It's actually a very big art selling holiday. There is time to get signed up, time to get going on the pre-marketing, time to launch your first Valentine's Day sale. And guess what? It's one sale after another sale after another sale with normal marketing in between, and it never changes. That is this business. That will always be this business. Quickly, I got a comment from YouTube. Is it recommended to stick to one niche at a time? You don't have to. It's a total mixed bag. One of the biggest lies out there that's getting perpetuated is that you have to pick a niche and you'll never be successful if you don't pick a niche. Biggest bunch of BS ever. You can have 50 different niches. Pablo Picasso, when he died, had 45,000 unsold works in his inventory. What do you think that guy was doing? Changing niches all the time. It worked out for him. So no, you don't have to have a niche. And what's more, the market will eventually tell you what your niche is or not. Some people sell a complete mixed bag of everything, and some people have like really defined niches. It just sort of matters on the person. So that's what I would say. I don't have a dedicated art studio. Do you have any ideas of alternative locations to have online art shows in your house? In your house is totally fine, Lauren. Everyone's having them in their house. You don't need to have a dedicated art studio in the slightest. Okay, Lauren's got her hand up. I might as well unmute you. I'm going to unmute you, Lauren. Go ahead.
Oh, that was just my question.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it would look weird to have it in front of the couch.
It totally doesn't. It totally doesn't. It totally doesn't. Now we're gonna have to go do the show and tell just to make you feel comfortable. Okay. What you notice? I gotta mute this. What you gotta notice? So this is in her basement. This is in her. Where's this one? I don't know. Slow YouTube loading. This is in a bedroom in her house somewhere, right? This one is in normal room in her house. Oh, the ads. You're killing me with the ads. I'm just going to keep clicking through. Normal room in her house, one of which has a peach wall. You don't see that all that often, do you? Peach walls. What about this one? Normal room in the house, normal blinds in the back. It turns out all of us are normal human beings with normal houses, and we all live in the same type of houses, and nobody cares. You don't need any pomp or circumstance or lighting or special event or special spot. I mean, we've had people run these things everywhere. Garages. Oh yeah, where's my favorite garage one? I think this one is so on brand because the guy's like, he's a surf photographer, right? He's in his garage, Not everyone has a garage, but lots of people have a garage. He's in his garage. Doesn't matter. So you can do you and don't feel like you need to like stress out about where it is or what's going on. It's just you turn the camera on, you give it a shot, and you go for it. And guess what? You don't worry about if you fall flat on your face because you're going to be running thousands of these things because it is the future of this business, full stop. So that's what I'd say.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, I'm running out of horsepower. I think we leave it there. Guys, good session today. Appreciate all of you. If we said we were going to contact you, we're totally going to contact you. And I'm going to send the replay. I know I'm going to send the replay. So that will come out, and I'll throw a bunch of cool links in there of things that I want you to see, even if I didn't mention them. And you can just bookmark the page, rewatch this thing if you're so inclined or not or whatever. But click on some of the links. The links have there's really good follow-up material in there that will get you on the path. And I want you following that pyramid because that's the only way that your business is going to grow. And again, don't take it as a sales pitch. I don't care if you ever sign up. I just don't want you relying on nonsense. I want you actually working towards growing the business, and you can do it just by getting focused on that pyramid. So, all right, guys, appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful week, and hope to see you on a future episode or somewhere around. Bye now.